Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? Today we're going over how to draw a T-Rex head, and there is an entire video that I made. I'm sorry, this is easy things to draw. I didn't say that. There's an entire video that I made dedicated to drawing dinosaurs. This is a little more specified. That video is still good. Go check it out. I'm going to link it somewhere on the screen over here. This is a little bit more specified into just T-Rex head, just a couple of things about that. So let's get into that. So let's draw the T-Rex head in profile first. Well, I usually like to start with a square. And then like there's a ball over here toward the front. Maybe a little bit smaller than the square. That connects to it. I tend to start with those shapes. When you're looking at, like, let's say the skull of the T-Rex, we're kind of like basing these off the skull. They have like three kind of large cavities that you see in a lot of the skulls, and one of them is obviously for the eye. Let's say that if you're looking at like a vague representation of the skull as an eye, up there, there is this part up here for, I believe, the muscles of the, I forget what it is. It's kind of like the snout. There's this huge hole right there, and you'll see that. You don't really see that in like wolves and stuff like that. They have solid bone there, but there seems to be this big hole in the snout area of the T-Rex, and then there's the nose area. If I was to draw a line straight down from the eye is going to be encased in here. So if you draw a straight line downward, you're going to have this thing called a jugo bone, which is essentially the same thing as a zygomatic arch in a human. You know what I mean? The cheekbone. It's going to parallel with, it's going to go down. If you pull that line down together, it's going to end up there. And this is the back of the skull. Also, if you keep going down, you have the lowest part of the lower jaw. And then you have the neck sticking out the back. If we go into more detail, we are here's the front of the snout area. Pulls down a little bit. And then there's his hood, like an eyebrow, like the brow above the eye, which encases the eye here. Here's the front of the lip. I know it's like kind of a debate whether they even had lips or not, or whether they're just like lizard type lips, where they don't have much lip in general. This pulls down in a sweep downward and kind of comes up the opposite direction here. And then goes into the jugo bone I was talking about. And ends toward the back of the skull here, where the ear would probably be around here. Then you have the lower jaw if it's closed. Pulls up. Rest of the jaw here. Lowest point of the jaw around this end. Back of the jaw has a little there's this little line I've noticed. I'm not quite sure what to call that part of the anatomy, but there's this where the jawbone kind of goes inward here, very similar to like the way the humans is, but the human has like more fat covering that. And then what I've seen a lot of people draw that I want to take on, it would be the throat. It kind of hangs a little bit like a lizard's. You know, even the throat would be in here. It kind of, the skin will hang a little bit. It makes it look a lot better. and this pulls downward. So, one couple of things let's go into. The nostril, people tend to draw the nostrils a lot on the top. I think I forget who said this, but the animals like to smell their food, so their nostrils are really going to be toward the front. And then the teeth are curving back. And they didn't have like, I don't think they had razor sharp teeth at T-Rex. They had more like these gigantic crushing type teeth. They were sharp, obviously, but they're not going to be razor sharp or anything. They weren't like small animals. They're gigantic. In fact, if you go to the museum in, like the LA museum has, I go there and they have like a T-Rex skeleton there. It's friggin' amazing. Just amazing, amazing, amazing. And you can add all kinds of things because these animals were basing them off their skeletal system and maybe their environment. I know they're saying some of them were covered in feathers, right? Depending on what area they were in, if they adjust to their weather. So you can like create a lot of stuff. You don't know if they had like things protruding, like these little spikes here. I'm just going to put on here. There's a little indentation here for the front of the snout. That kind of matches where the bone is. I see that a lot in Jurassic Park and stuff. And let me slightly work on it. I'm not going to full-blown shade it or anything, but actually, no, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna leave it as is, just so you can see what it's kind of made up of. And then there's like usually like a vein over here that I've seen in a lot of designs, like the T-Rex design, especially in Jurassic Park. You know, like most of my exposure to Tyrannosaurus would be like in Jurassic Park, really. That's what made it amazingly cool. It was always cool, I guess, before that. Before that, I've probably been like the old King Kong movie. Even the new King Kong movie, not the new one that's about to come out, but the new one with Peter Jackson, you know, he had some pretty awesome T-Rex designs, stuff like that. You will notice that they'll exaggerate certain things about T-Rex in the movie to make him make it look like a monster, you know, which they pretty much were, but they'll make them look more monstrous than they probably look like when they existed. So let's draw a 3/4 view now. I'm going to be taking that same rule. I'm going to think of a kind of a square, but I'm going to be thinking of it in perspective. I'm going to put at the very end of this video some resources if you're not really sure how to, you know, I'm going to put resources with the original dinosaur video, which is an enzyme art video originally, and then also perspective video, you know, for basic perspective. I went over basic perspective. I didn't go over actual like subtle perspective within a figure. I think I go over that in another one, but I will show you. I'll put those videos at the very end. It'll be like kind of like a. You should look at those, but maybe before you look at this. But you know, but they're just resources. So I'm drawing a circle. I have my square in perspective here, and I'm going to connect that corner of the square to this circle. Find the front of that snout. I'm actually going to enlarge it a little bit overall because I want it to kind of match maybe that scale a little bit more. Just a little bit more. I'm starting out with that same thing. Snout pulls in a little bit. It comes out. Find the front. This is kind of like a little bit of a hook shape toward the front, kind of like if you look at a lizard's mouth, it has this like at the front, or even like a dragon's mouth, stuff like that. Obviously, those are all based on nature. It has this kind of, it isn't this dumpy like lower U shape. It kind of has this lower U shape, and then it goes up a little bit, and then comes around the back. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, message me and I'll try to put it, you know, like in the next video or something. Or I'll try to describe it in the comments. Right here, say the eye's over here. Let's go downward. Find that jugal bone. Jugal bone. I don't know quite how to pronounce that. Jugal bone. It's like a bone in lizards, like I said. It's just a zygomatic arch, really, in humans. The eyeball, the eye is encased in there. It's said, at least they think, and obviously information is changing all the time on dinosaurs because they're not with us. You know, new discoveries that kind of focus a little bit more on information that they find, and they think that the T-Rex held its head kind of low so that its eyesight could see forward between this part of the snout right here, and so it can kind of look forward. If it's holding its head too high, it can't see because of its nose is in the way. So they think that they might have held their head like a little low so it can just look right into something, you know. I thought that was kind of neat because it was clearly like a predator, or they think it was like a scavenger, right, / predator. And a person to look like need that slight overlapping vision, you know, to kind of focus and where, you know, how to gauge their distance better than like prey animals. Prey animals tend not to do that. Right here, going that same thing up there, that ridge above the eyes. It's kind of like that. It's like a very ridgy brow per se. Finishing off the mouth shape, you're gonna find, and at least this is with me, is that the mouth shape, right, that bulbous mouth shape is really where issues arise, and you're gonna be like, damn, this looks weird, you know. And it'll almost always be that snout, that kind of mouth shape of the snout. So just kind of be careful with that and toy with it. There's really no math mathematical way to solve that. You just have to experiment with what looks correct and what doesn't. At least that's what I've found, you know. Like I followed every rule, and I'm like, damn, that still doesn't look right, you know. The nostrils are toward the front. Back of the skull over here. This is odd shape. You see that like on lizards as well. Right here before the ear. Lower jaw. I guess I am going to have to go back and shrink it a little bit because I'm already drawing into that other shape. Lower jaw. Pulls up. Lowest part of the jaw. Back of the jaw. And watch this out. So it's looking a little bit too duck-like. But I think that might also be because I haven't added the teeth yet. So let's add the teeth in and see what that looks like. Again, with the teeth, they have, like, just to go back to this one, they swoop back. They don't just go downward like this. They swoop back. And also, if you want to get more technical, like, you know, you can make them vary. You can vary the sizes of their teeth, of his teeth. You know, some are broken, stuff like that. You know, that's the way they really find them, right? They're like, they've probably been battling and, or, you know, breaking them off when they eat, stuff like that. Still disturbing to think this thing really existed, actually. Especially when you see the bones and how big the bones are, you're just like, wow, cannot believe this thing really existed. That is so disturbing. Same thing right here into the neck. Finding that ridge here that I put over there. I want to make it consistent. Rest of the neck over here. You can see right in the front of it. Peak. I think the edge of the mouth here, I would like to change that shape. Yeah, I like that a little bit more. And then this shape right here, I find that's really cool. That circular shape separating the snout from the kind of midsection. Another thing I like is drawing the bag of the eye there. And that's pretty much it, actually. That's kind of how to draw a T-Rex head. You can play with the proportions as well. Look at the way different artists drew their versions of T-Rex. Look at I would say look at Stan Winston's design. I believe it's Stan Winston, right, that designed the T-Rex in the Jurassic Park. And then there's stuff like, I forget the guy who created Dinotopia. I forgot his name, but that guy is an amazing artist. Just an amazing, amazing artist at animals. But anyways, that's pretty much it. That's how to draw a T-Rex skull. What I'm going to do, if you really want this, is if you want to request, how do you draw a T-Rex skull, like opening up its mouth and roaring, that whole thing, you know what I mean? Let me know and I will do that. So just like the video and let me know in the comments if you want to do that. And I'll even make that one of my next videos if you want. Just let me know. All right, see you later, guys. I'll talk to you next time.